La 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 la. What a beautiful day for a walk in the speech-ridden jungle. Oh, oh no, it's a giant ape. Oh, please don't eat me. Please don't kill me. Here, eat this banana. Oh, he doesn't like bananas. Oh. Sandoichi, are you there?
Hello, CEAZOR. What is the matter? Oh, it's a giant ape. They love to eat the sushi.
Gluk, gluk, gluk.
Let's get out of here.
Hello and welcome to Caesar's Snack Sandwich. Today we're going to take a look at Kashi. Now Kashi is a sushi swap application and it's a lending platform. It's isolated lending platform. So I'm going to explain what it is, but before I get into that, I wanted to show you something here. This is the Apetax Vaults, and this is kind of what led me to just finally decide to take a good look at Kashi. I've been putting it on the back burners for a while, but anyways, there is this one strategy here that's called Kashi lending multiple pair lendings. And what it's doing is it's basically taking your DAI. So if you put DAI in this vault, it's going to put it in the comp farm. It's going to put it in Curve, but then it's also going to put it in the 5 best yielding Kashi multi-pairs. So it's going to move your DAI around between the Kashi pairs and to whichever one's producing the best yield at that time every time there's a harvest. So let's go into Kashi and try to understand what's going on there so you can understand why this is could be a very powerful strategy. So when you go to Sushi Swap, you would enter the app, right? And you'll usually end up here. Down up at the top, it's called a Bento Box. So when you click on Bento Box, you're sent to here. And here is currently only the Kashi protocol, but they're going to add other protocols that use the Bento Box. So before we can understand what is Kashi, we should probably understand what is the Bento Box. So the Bento Box is kind of like a wallet. If you click up here, Bento Box, you can kind of see the tokens that I have inside my Bento Box. So let's click on it. So here there is a Bento Box. I don't currently have any of my tokens inside Bento Box on Ethereum here. So, but you could basically deposit tokens into the Bento Box and then use the tokens inside the applications that use the Bento Box. So if we go back here right now, it's currently Kashi. So let's say I put some let's say I put some sushi tokens inside the Bento Box. Then I could move them inside Kashi without having to pay the approve transaction for each contract. So this is pretty powerful, especially when there is a lot of possibilities, a lot of places to put your tokens. So let's go to Kashi and we'll go to lend here. And I'll explain to you quickly what Kashi does. I'm not going to give you every little detail, but the docs are very good, and I do suggest you come and check the docs on Kashi. They explain it pretty well, and I think you'll have a good enough understanding after you watch this. So here we are on the lending platform. So basically each one of these pairs is an isolated lending pool or market. So on other platforms where you want to lend, let's say you put Ethereum, Bitcoin, and Link as your collateral, and then you borrow some USDC or something like on Aave, right? So you put those tokens as collateral and you borrow. Now, let's say you have a total of, let's say a random number like $1,000 worth of tokens as collateral, and you borrow 800, let's say, or maybe that's too much, maybe 700 or 600. But anyways, you borrow some amount of money, and then your collateral decreases in value. Let's say one of those tokens takes a huge dump, like maybe Ethereum goes down 60% or something, and your collateral is no longer high enough to cover your debt. Then the liquidators can come in and buy up whichever of the collateral they wish. They can look and say, oh, they don't want to borrow your, let's say they don't want to buy your ETH because it's dumping, so they're just going to buy your WBTC or your sushi or whatever, right? So it kind of exposes all of your collateral is exposed to a single event. Whereas here, each collateral has its own market. So you can decide the risk factor of each collateral. So let's take a look at this one here, this sushi, X sushi. So you can put X sushi here as collateral and borrow USDC. Now, if X sushi goes down in value substantially, this actual position could get liquidated. However, if you had, say, like this one, and you were borrowing DAI, or say like you had WBTC to borrow DAI, and you had X sushi and borrowing USDC. I'm just choosing these two because they're close, but maybe let's assume that this DAI is actually USDC. So you had X sushi to borrow USDC and WBTC to borrow USDC. And let's say the X sushi dumps to a point where, you know, liquidation can happen. They can only the liquidators can only buy out your X sushi. Your WBTC would be safe. So you can decide in each market how much risk you want to take with each collateral. And this is very, very powerful, okay? There are some other key factors here that make this powerful, but this is the main idea, okay? So this is currently the lending tab. So let's talk about lending first. So let's say I'm a lender and I want to lend out some tokens. What I could do is, let's say I wanted to lend my USDC. If I were to lend to this market, which is heavily utilized, I would get 22% APR, and it's currently at a 93.6% utilization, basically. So it's quite highly utilized. A lot of people are using X sushi to borrow USDC in this market. So if I open it up, it's pretty straightforward. It's very like Sushi Swap is always good for this. You know, you just deposit your USDC and then you're lending and you're getting that supply APY. It does say here 19, whereas on the other page it said 22. So I'm not exactly sure why these are so different, but I guess after you supply, it will go down a little bit because you are decreasing the utilization. Now, these APRs it's a little bit hard to explain how they calculate it, but they use this, it's not linear. Like they use this chart where after every 8 hours, they recalculate it based on the utilization. So the APR will change at that time. But as you can see, it ramps up quite quickly in the end, and it kind of goes down quite quickly at the edges. So the edges are pretty extreme, but this edge is quite extreme, right? And then in the middle, it's pretty stable, okay? So this is basically lending. If I wanted to lend, I could put my USDC in this pool, and I could then make this APR. So now this APR, like I said, it's changing. As you can see, it changes quite frequently. So what that Apetax Vault is doing is it's basically monitoring all of these for DAI and supplying to the 5 best ones if it makes sense to do so. Now, let's say I'm on the other hand and I want to be a borrower. I want to get some tokens for my tokens. I would come to borrow, and I would select the market that I have. This is one of the downfalls, is that there are so many markets that it's difficult, but you can search. Let's say I had that X sushi, right? And I wanted to borrow this USDC. I could click this, and again, it's quite straightforward. You know, I want to borrow some USDC. I just need to click, clickety click, and I am good. So it's very straightforward. I'm not going to do it because I don't want to borrow this right now, but I just wanted to give you an idea. So basically you add your X sushi here and you write down how much you would like to borrow, and it's going to give you dynamic outputs and all that. And the last part here is create. If you can't find your market anywhere, or you think there's a market that's useful, you can just, you know, spend a little bit of gas and create the market based on tokens. So again, they're saying, you know, currently only Chainlink oracles are available. So they're going to support other ones in the future. So you would have to find a token in here, 2 tokens that have Chainlink oracles, and you could then create a market if you wanted. And you wouldn't need to actually put tokens in there to create market, but somebody would have to put both tokens inside to provide collateral and provide so forth, and make the market have some collateral inside, or not the collateral, make the market have some some assets in there for the borrowing, right? So liquidity, I guess you would call it. So that pretty much covers Kashi. Like I'm not an expert on it yet, but I'm still interested in this. I think it's quite interesting in the sense that it's quite safe, right? Like you can isolate your risk, and this is very important. So if you have more questions, I suggest you to read the docs or maybe head over to the SushiSwap Telegram, Discord, and so forth, and ask questions there and see what you can find out. This is just a quick overview, so thanks for watching and goodbye.